So I realized that I spoke to, I told you, I spoke to you about the hips and the iliac spine, but I was thinking maybe I should get into the iliac spines and all this stuff. So you can find my book, yeah, plug it in. You can find details on all these things in my book. These are the iliac spines. Right? This is the pelvis. These are the iliac spine, right? Anterior superior iliac spine. There are 8. For now, we're gonna be happy with these 2, anterior superior, right? So, and of course, posterior superior, posterior inferior, anterior inferior, right? So let's see, why do we care about the iliac spine? So let's draw first the pelvis as a bucket, right? And the proportion of this bucket are about so the height of the pelvis is close to the width, but the pelvis is slightly wider than it is high, all right? Slightly wider than it is high. So if this is one head, the height is 1 head, right? The width is 1 1/4, 1 and a little bit, right? So the iliac spine, considering that this is 1, right? Let's go with this. This is 1, right? The iliac spine are going to be at the upper quarter, right? So if I divide the bucket in 4 equal segments, the iliac spine are going to be here at the upper quarter. At the lower quarter here, I find the pubic bone, right? So that would be the pubic bone. Pubic symphysis, the genitals are going to develop here, right? So these are bony landmarks, meaning the bones are going to be visible, or you can perceive them on the outside of the figure. So the skeleton can be felt in these areas in here. So now, now I have these landmarks. So as is, anterior, superior iliac spine, and pubic bone. The genital will develop below here. From here to iliac spine, I'm sorry guys, here. From the iliac spine down to the pubic bone here, I have the inguinal ligament, right? The crotch. And the leg develops below that. So let's keep going now with this idea of movement, right? And we are going to focus on the axial skeleton, meaning the head, the rib cage, and the pelvis, right? Remember those rounded forms that are so belittled by some school of thoughts, but I just love them, so I'll do them, right? So this is the neck. So you notice how I can now, as I have a good idea of the size, the specific size of these forms, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Then what I can do, I can angle them, put them at an angle, and start thinking in terms of movement, right? I think we've seen this already, but I want to add something else in here today. Iliac spines are going to be here. So when I identify the iliac spine in my subject, I line them up, and that gives me the pelvic tilt, right? How the pelvis is tilted. The sternum gives me the angle of the rib cage, and a line that goes through the center of the face gives me the angle of the head, right? So using the angle of the head, it goes from the forehead down the middle of the nose, down the mouth, down the chin. I can see how this head is tilted. Looking at the sternum, I see the more or less, with good approximation, the tilt of the sternum, and looking at the angle, actually, of the line that connects the two iliac spine, I can see the pelvic tilt, right? So now from here, imagine that I could also start twisting and turning. But before we do that, so you see how this is a woman, no? Because clearly has the wider hips, wider than the rib cage. So inguinal ligament here, right? And the legs, where do they start? The legs, I mentioned this quickly last time. The leg will start from just where the inguinal ligament ends, right? Just below here, I have the leg. The top of the leg anteriorly is kind of halfway between the pubic bone and the iliac spine. So the legs are going to be more or less here, developing down here like this, right? The genitals in here, right? And here, more or less here, right? Makes sense? So, umbilicus, we had seen it's here, more or less at the level of the top of the iliac crest. And so now I have connected the leg properly with the rib cage. One thing I want to show today is how, remember, we saw all these volumes in here, right? The volume of the abdomen, the volume of the abs, the volume of the belly here, the external oblique, the pectoralis, the breasts. Now, let's just see how they can be modified in terms of form by compression. So if I have, let's say, a figure like this that is leaning, right, on the left, on the right in this case, right? So head and rib cage are leaning on the right like this. And then I have now the pelvis instead leaning the other way, right? So what happened is costal arch, iliac spines, pubic bone, inguinal ligament. This is the end of the abdomen, right? And this is the top, the higher portion, the higher part of the abdomen, just below the costal arch. So from here down to here, from the end of the sternum or the top of the costal arch down to the pubic bone, I have a line that is called linea alba. It's really not a separated line, it's just part of muscle, but it's a line that divides the abdomen in two and divides the six-pack in two. So here I can put in down the rectus abdominis, down like this, right? And now what happens in here, this is the iliac crest. So this is bone. This is the iliac crest, right? This is the iliac crest. So that's bone, right? And this is also bone. The end of the rib cage is also bone. So what happened is, on this side in here, as I lean, in this case, to the right, the muscles, let me see if I can get another color just to make it festive. So here, I'm going to have this external oblique muscle is going to be stretched, right? It's going to be stretched. But the external oblique in here is going to be compressed. So I'm going to have in here a change of the form, the muscles, that I can somehow predict if I understand what's happening with the deeper structure, meaning how is the skeleton having an effect on the superficial soft structure, the muscular volume, right? So down here I can now position my leg, and actually, let me put it right. The leg clearly can be at any angle I want, right? So maybe this is going to be straight, and maybe this leg here is going to be at an angle like that. But I know that the top of the leg, more or less, is going to be between the pubic bone and the iliac spine, up here like this, right? So if you want to imply, also this is another quick tip, if you want to imply a sense of depth, always draw thinking of the form as a three-dimensional form and not a shape, not two lines, right? But think of the section. Think of the section, and that will immediately project in your head a sense of form, a sense of three-dimensionality. So, okay, so let's see if this horizontal format makes the whole drawing a little more clear, a little bit bigger. Goodbye.